Alright everyone, I'm going to read some Wikipedia here. The North American P-51 Mustang, it had a long operational existence in the militaries. It was introduced to the U.S. militaries in 1942 for World War II, of course. But it was retired in 1984 by the Dominicans. So this thing, flew for several decades. Anyways, there were made 15,000 of these airplanes. And it had a length of 9.8 meters, a wingspan of 11.3 meters, and it could go 710 kilometers per hour. It was considered a long-range fighter bomber, and it was the first fighter plane to really be able to take on the Luftwaffe back in World War II, that is. So the Bf-109, the ME, I forget what it is, the Messerschmitt. Anyways, no, the Messerschmitt is the Bf-109. I'm thinking about the Focke-Wulf FW-190. Anyways, sorry. The thing had 650 caliber machine guns, and then it was claimed to have destroyed almost 5,000 enemy aircraft. It was actually used at the start of the Korean War by the Americans until the F-86 Sabre jet took over its service. And then, again, a lot of other air forces used this up until the 80s. Alright, so that's the flying version. After that, people bought them for private use and also for like sport racing. Apparently people race airplanes. Talk about burning cash. Alright, so the reason why I have these three is because this livery this model kit came with, this Stinger 7, this is a top ace in the Pacific Theater. So this person, Major Robert Todd Moore, flew out of the 45th Fighter Squadron on Iwo Jima, and he had 11 kills confirmed, maybe 12, and he was basically a fighter race within the very long range Mustang group. I don't know too much about the military, I apologize. So yeah, it's nice that they did some research there at Hasegawa, and they gave you two different decal sets. Let me try to find something. Yeah, just pulling the box here. So you have these two different liveries you could do. I just went the lazy route. I don't want to paint that blue, right? And I'm used to seeing this kind of livery. This is probably another ace, and it's got a bunch of kill marks there, but probably on the western front, if I had to guess. All right, well, so yeah, the decals make perfect sense. And I want to note, I just remembered, putting this together is actually pretty easy. It's a well done model kit. This might be the best model kit of the Eggplane series that I've experienced. The only slight issue you might want to be mindful of is putting this propeller with the cone. The propellers have to actually flex past a little bit of the cone, so you can't just jam it straight on. You gotta like kind of wiggle it and stuff. Make sure you don't break the propeller trying to get it past the cone. But other than that, I don't recall any real major problems at all, really. So I'm quite happy. It also came with decals for the eyes, so you don't have to worry about that. I ignored, a lot of the color things. I just use whatever paints that I have available. So it's an Eggplane. I'm not going for 100% accuracy. Alright, so let's get into this model again here. More detail. Look now. I really like the deformation. Some of the other ones have really long wings, but I like how they're so stubby because, it's a deformed airplane. So, now these decals, I couldn't match the green very well. I tried my best mixing some paints and stuff, but yeah, clearly this is a much darker green than what I have here. I tried to even paint wash it to make it darker, but wasn't happening. I believe I painted this all Vallejo primer black, and then I just shot some silver over it. Then I applied the decals, and I used some Tamiya Mark Fit Super Strong to make it get into those grooves. I had to apply the Super Strong a bunch of times. So yeah, I think these decals, there is no major problems. They're so small, you don't run too much of a risk of tearing them. So I lucked out. But there's literally 8 decals here on the propeller. Here you can see how the plastic of the black has to flex past the green. See, it's a little bit past it, so that's what I was talking about in the instruction manual there. And amazingly, I got this thing relatively concentric. It's just one decal that bends and conforms. It's a little off there, so yeah, I'm actually quite shocked. It doesn't really want to spin, but I don't really mind. Added some black paint into the vents there. And pleasantly, because basically the whole thing is silver, it's really easy to paint. The only issue is, masking off these cockpits from this brand is a real pain. There's almost no height difference between what's supposed to be painted and what's supposed to be clear. It's almost like a smooth surface, right? They either need to raise these dramatically, like 0.5 millimeter or more, or just molding grooves, and then you paint the grooves and then wipe off the extra paint. So that's what would be ideal. But now I think I used masking fluid, and that's why I don't have a sharp edge. It's just it wasn't great. I had to apply a bunch of extra silver paint because I rattle canned it to seal in some stuff, but the rattle can tears through Vallejo paint very easily, so be mindful of that. If you're going to rattle can something, you want to have a clear coat of Vallejo before you rattle can it. And you might ask, why would I clear coat something twice? The matte varnish from Vallejo is actually pretty glossy, so I wanted to have this matte finished, so I rattle canned it with a matte can and tore through it, so I had to add more silver paint and repeat that process a few times. Long story, sorry, not so important. But anyways, I lucked out. In the end, it all turned out well. The reason why these look the way they do is I applied a bunch of AK Interactive rust solutions, and then maybe some engine wash as well, and it's still under clear coat though. So anyways, it worked out. So let's take a look at some other Eggplanes. I didn't mention, there's no peg hole on these model kits from Hasegawa, so I drilled out this 2mm hole, 3D printed my own little dome stand, and that's what I like to do. I like to see a little bit of the bottom, so. Okay, well, the P-47, that came out earlier in 1941, the Thunderbolt. It's more of a tank than a sports car. And then there's the opposition, the Zero, which was a really great plane at the beginning of its introduction, but I think the Mustang would probably smoke it. Well, it's questionable. The pilot quality of the Japanese diminished after a while because they couldn't train. They didn't have time to train pilots, right? So that could be a reason why. I'm not sure which plane is superior, but definitely pilot quality inferior towards the end of the war for Japan. Well, you can see, as I mentioned, these wings are just so crazy big, unnecessarily so. If you want to, let's see, they're around 13 centimeters, but the wingspan of this Mustang is more like 9.5, right? So it's like an extra 4 centimeters narrower, and I think it looks better for it. It just looks smaller and cuter, whereas these are definitely still weird looking. They literally look like wings attached to an egg. But this just looks like a more evenly deformed airplane. So, yeah, I hope that if Hasegawa makes more of these things, try to go this way instead of this way. I also like that the cockpit is much bigger, so they included a character of that real pilot. Whereas the other ones, the cockpits are so small, they're near impossible to get a figure in. So this is TH7, actually pretty early in the Eggplane series. The Thunderbolt is TH10, and the Zero is TH6 or 8. So this actually came out before the other ones. So they actually had it right before, and then they started putting on bigger wings. Kind of weird. Well, anyways, hopefully they'll change in future kits if they even decide to make future kits. Very happy to have this one. And hopefully we'll see you in the next video. Egging out.